2024 started off strong for both the new and the used car market, but in recent weeks, things have taken a bit of an unfortunate turn. And while this certainly isn't terrible news, it also isn't good news. And these are absolutely details that you should know if you are someone who's looking at buying a new car in the next couple of months. Because if you are someone who's in the market for a new car, well, right now isn't the best time to buy. According to new Kelley Blue Book data, as of yesterday, May 14th, new car transaction prices went up for the first time in 3 months. In fact, new car prices went up to the highest level that we've seen since December of last year. The current average new vehicle transaction price increased to $48,510, which is an increase of 2.2% from the month prior, so March of 2024. The silver lining here, though, is that while new vehicle transaction prices did go up month over month, they are still down year over year by 0.5%. Now, the reason why new vehicle transaction prices went up in the month of April is due to a handful of different factors, one of which is dealership and vehicle incentives. You can see here a graph of dealership incentives, and it shows dealership incentives in the form of a percentage of average transaction price. And one of the crazy things here is how this data has been trending over the last few years. You can see that while average vehicle transaction price has been steadily increasing over the last decade, with of course the most significant increase in the last few years, average dealership incentives have on the other hand been pretty steady over the same period of time, with of course the exception of post-pandemic, where all bets were off and dealership incentives absolutely tanked. Dealership incentives have been hovering at around 8 to 11% from 2012 to 2021, but in 2022 and 2023, incentives tanked to a record low of about 2%. And ever since then, dealership incentives have been steadily climbing to where they sit today at 6.3%. And while dealership incentives are still up year over year, which is a good sign, this is the first time that we've seen dealership incentives drop since October of 2023, where it dropped by 0.1 percentage point. Now, don't worry, this doesn't mean that the sky is falling, nor does it mean that the car market crash is over. But what it does mean is that if you are in the market for a new car, waiting a couple of months in order to make that purchase may serve you well. In fact, an analyst from Cox Automotive had this to say about dealership incentives and average vehicle transaction price. The month-over-month increase in pricing in April is likely just a reflection of some pullback on incentives compared to the end of Q1. In March, when many automakers were pushing discounts to hit a strong finish to the quarter. And this is where timing for your next vehicle purchase really does matter, because different days, different months, different times of year, these are all not created equal. Buying at the end of the month is one of the best times to buy a new or used car because dealerships and dealership salesmen are wanting to push sales in order to reach their sales goals. And as a result of this, both the salesman and the dealership are much more inclined and more likely to give you a discount on a vehicle in order to fluff up their sales numbers. But the end of month, end of quarter, there is no better time. Dealerships, automakers, and salesmen all make a strong push at the end of the quarter to get more sales through the door. Automakers want their earnings and sales numbers to look strong so they can present that on their earnings report and help their shareholders and their stock price. Dealership groups want to report strong financials for many of the same reasons. And salesmen want to hit their goal for their bonus, and by the time we reach end of month, end of quarter, the time to reach that sales goal, it's ticking quickly. And so because of this, and because of the fact no matter how dealership groups and automakers want to slice it, new vehicle inventory is climbing. In fact, new vehicle inventory is up 46% from this time last year, but vehicle affordability is still a major problem that's not only plaguing consumers, the car market, but automakers and dealerships as well. With the average transaction price of a new car sitting at $48,510, new cars are simply unaffordable, and it is becoming harder and harder for the average consumer to justify this level of purchase. Not to mention the fact that interest rates are still high, and so if automakers, salesmen, and dealerships want to continue selling cars, well, they're going to have to sweeten the deal a bit. Which is why, despite the fact that dealership incentives have gone down in the last month, this will no doubt turn around and continue to increase throughout 2024. Because as 2024 progresses and as dealership inventory continues to grow, as interest rates stand still, which they are expected to throughout the year, they may go down a bit, but they're definitely not going down dramatically. people are going to need an incentive to buy a car, and that's where the average transaction price could continue to go down, especially at the end of each quarter and towards the end of the year. And while dealership incentives is definitely the major reason why we did see an increase in average vehicle transaction price in April compared to March, we also can look at individual automakers to see why this was the case as well. And we can see here how different automakers are changing their prices year over year and month over month. You can see that Ford, Tesla, and Volkswagen have seen the largest month over month price increases, with a 5.4% increase from Ford, a 5.5% increase from Volkswagen, and a 5.7% increase from Tesla. While Ford, Hyundai, and Toyota have seen the largest year over year increases, with Ford increasing their prices by 3.8% year over year, Hyundai increasing their pricing by 4.6%, and Toyota increasing theirs by 2.2%. Now, believe it or not all is bad here, because there are some automakers that have actually decreased their prices over the last year, with BMW decreasing their prices by 2.5% year over year, Renault, Nissan, Mitsubishi Group decreasing their pricing by 4.5%, and Lucid Motors decreasing theirs by a whopping 28.1%. And when we look at individual vehicle segments and their month-over-month price increases or price decreases, non-luxury vehicles have increased their prices from $44,078 to $44,989. Full-size trucks have increased in price by 2.8% month over month and now sit at a whopping $66,631, while mid-size trucks increased by 3.3% month over month and now sit at $43,000. And believe it or not, electric vehicles are actually flat month over month, which in large part is due to the fact that Tesla saw price increases month over month, which sort of leveled out the playing field. Now, again, I want to stress that all of this data is new average vehicle transaction price, so it is the price that a customer actually pays whenever they buy a new car. And while MSRP encompasses the new average vehicle transaction price, it isn't the only thing that's taken into account either. Bonus cash, negotiations, below MSRP pricing, of course, dealership incentives, all of these get taken into account with average vehicle transaction price, but so do things like dealership add-ons, dealership markups. So the new average vehicle transaction price can really swing depending on what the dealership has actually added to the deal to either bring the price up or bring it down, which is again one of the reasons why we saw the average new vehicle transaction price skyrocket over the last few years. Because not only did dealership incentives go down, but dealership markups went crazy, which really increased the overall price that people were paying for cars. This is all to say that the time of year in which you buy a new car makes a really big difference, and price volatility, particularly at the end or at the beginning of a quarter, can really make a big difference when it comes to how much you're going to be paying for that new vehicle that you're going to purchase. Which is why, if I was buying a new car right now, I would wait to make that purchase. In the month of April, not only did we see dealership incentives let up because of the fact that we had entered a new quarter, so the end of month, end of quarter incentive was no longer a player here, but tax season also came to an end, which has also had an historical impact on the car market as well. The spring is a notoriously busy time to buy a car, and as we head into summer, the car market tends to slow down. This happens year after year, and I expect that it will happen this year as well. Summer is slower for car sales than the spring. There's an end of month, end of quarter in June. In fact, if you look at the graph of dealership incentives over the last decade, you can see that based off of the trends, we will most likely see an increase in dealership incentives over the next 60 days. And this will all bring that average transaction price down, which means that whenever you purchase that new car, you'll be paying less, which means that June of 2024 could be the perfect time to buy a new car. Okay, maybe not perfect, but certainly better than current market conditions. But like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it, so make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.